And I've been season ticket holder for 48 years.
We're on the 35-yard line right off the aisle.
I went to a lot of 1 and 10 and actually 1 0 and 11, I believe, in the 70s.
Hayden Fry came my sophomore year in college, so it was this kind of excitement that took over.
He'd resurrected a couple other programs, so we were certainly hoping he could do the same thing here.
Iowa football was insignificant from the 60s up to the 70s, just an afterthought.
It ended up being like 19 years of non-winning seasons.
They were building a new mall in town, I can remember, and on the ply board over the windows, people had spray painted "Go Hawks, beat somebody."
I was obviously real young when my dad was coaching here, so growing up I came to about every football game there was here, and they still had 55,000 people coming even though they hadn't had a winning season.
I had been here before with Forrest Evashevski, and at that time we won the Big Ten championship, and so I knew that it could happen.
Hayden Fry changed the culture in Iowa City. He said it's okay to want to win again.
He created an expectation in Iowa that said we're going to win, and we're going to win big, and we're going to win a lot.
In 1978, the seeds of an Iowa football revival were planted when athletic director Bump Elliott went outside the Hawkeye family and tabbed North Texas State head coach Hayden Fry as the newest head man in Iowa City.
We'd hired 2 coaches before, and we weren't very successful. I said, you know, you're probably the last coach I could ever hire, so you better be good. No, I didn't say you better be good, but I felt that.
He's 4 months older than I am. We were born in the same small town in Texas, and the same doctor delivered both of us. We were looking at a film, and all of a sudden I said, what was the score of that game? He said, well, Iowa got beat about 40 points. I said, did you see the amount of people that were at that ball game? And he said, yeah. And I said, just think what it's going to be like if we can win.
Anytime that the Hawkeyes made a first down, the whole crowd would stand up and applaud. And I'm thinking to myself, I wonder what they'd do if they scored a touchdown. At Iowa, you might have 4 or possibly 5 youngsters a year that could play winning football in the Big Ten. So out of necessity, you have to recruit nationwide. And we go back to Pennsylvania, we go back to Texas, we went to Ohio, we went to Nebraska, and that's the way we built a winner.
They came from North Texas State, and they knew what it took to win. He had success there with not a great big program, you know, and he brought a lot of those ideas and all of his coaching staff with him.
My dad, he said, if you're going to be successful, you've got to surround yourself with winners. So as a coach, I never hired an assistant coach in my life unless I was completely convinced that he was motivated to become a head coach.
Step into it. Head back and fly.
Half of the guys on our staff became head coaches. On offense, we had Bill Snyder, Donnie Patterson, and of course, Kirk Ferentz. And on defense, we had Barry Alvarez, Dan McCarney, and Bobby Stoops.
You look at that coaching staff and you just shake your head because we didn't really know what we had.
They were very positive and very success-oriented. I could sense it in them. And so I had faith that they would be able to turn the program around.
My dad had played at the University of Wisconsin, so I was familiar with the Big Ten. But I really didn't know a lot about the University of Iowa. Coach Fry came to see me on one of the worst days of the winter. He came knocking on our door right at 6:30, just like he promised. And after that, I really made my mind up to be a Hawkeye.
A lot of our best players weren't highly recruited, Chuck Long being an example of that.
I grew up in Big Ten country, but I grew up in the backyard of Northwestern and the University of Illinois. I had no idea where Iowa City, Iowa was and what kind of football that they played out there.
Chuck Long was a winning but unspectacular high school quarterback at Wheaton North, 30 miles outside of Chicago.
Barry Alvarez was the one that recruited him. We got a call from Hayden, and he'd been out looking at other quarterbacks, and it didn't look good. So he talked to Barry and said, Barry, call Chuck Long up and tell him he's our guy.
Hayden had a special quality of just salesmanship. He knew how to sell. You just felt like, something special is brewing here.
Fry earned a degree in psychology from Baylor, and that knowledge was put into action with his new pupils.
You inherit a group of young men that have had their tails kicked, told they were losers, and frankly, from a psychological standpoint, those kind of people are the easiest people in the world because they're hungry, they want to win, they want to show people they're wrong. The first game we played at Kinnick Stadium, we came out in a formation with only one back in the backfield. The rest were spread out across the field. The crowd at Kinnick Stadium stood up and applauded before we even snapped the ball.
We were one of the first ones to really start to change the image in the Big Ten. Having the tight end stand up so he can see coverages and see blitzes coming. That was a unique thing back then.
I spent 3 nights every fall just talking about this is what it takes to win. This is what it takes to lose. Now you can do these things over here listed under how to lose. You just can't be on my football team.
In his early years, they went down and played at Oklahoma. And they played the Sooners pretty tough, but they lost the game.
Players were coming off the field, and Iowa fans were clapping and patting him on the shoulder saying how great they played. And Hayden Fry said, the first person I see smile, I'm going to slap him across the face.
People are actually started having faith that we can be a good team. This coach is actually pointing us in the right direction.
In 1981, the program went from Punchline to Pasadena, the first Big Ten representative in the Rose Bowl, not named Michigan or Ohio State since the 1967 season.
You're talking now 18, 19 straight years without having a winning season, and then all of a sudden we're in the Rose Bowl.
Hayden Fry knew after the 1981 season, I think, what was in store. Because after that season, I remember him telling me, we're going to go to a bowl game every year now.